What's the entrance? And then once she's shot in the back, it's like, oh, okay.
Thank you for coming. This morning, we are in a hospital once again to provide an update on an NYPD officer who was shot. We're fortunate this time our officer's injuries are not life-threatening. I want to thank the great staff here at Jamaica Hospital for their hard work and support. We sincerely appreciate it. This young officer was off duty in his vehicle on his way to work when two individuals, one armed with a handgun, approached his car. These men intended to rob the driver of that vehicle. After our officer exited his car, one suspect opened fire, striking our officer. This young man was on his way to work, on his way to protect New Yorkers from criminals like the two who were arrested today. The police department is well past standing at podiums telling people there are too many illegal guns on the street and far too many people carrying them ready to pull the trigger. So I'll ask the mayor to speak.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I want to thank the officers who were part of apprehending the suspects after their car was shot upon. We need to really be clear on what happened today because it speaks volumes of what we have been stating over and over again. When these two individuals shot at a passenger driving a car, they didn't shoot at a police officer. They shot at a civilian. And then to find out that they shot at police officers, it sent a message. They had no regard of who they were trying to kill. And our officers, as you will hear, showed a great level of restraint. So the conversation we have been having over and over again, the overproliferation of guns, ready to use them on individuals in blue uniforms or blue jeans. They don't care. They don't care. And to see something like this happen repeatedly in our city is unacceptable. On Thursday, we're going to have the President of the United States here in this city, and we're going to lay out clear items we need on the federal level, just as we did with state lawmakers. Everyone must be on the same team. Our officers today showed the level of restraint that we know our police department is capable of doing. Those officers were fired upon and did not return fire. That's something to think about. And the same model and method of policing is what we promised we were going to institute in this city. And we're going to continue to expand on that, regardless of those that don't understand the proper methods of policing. This department is going to fight to keep this city safe. And I want to thank both city council members who are here responding to our officers being injured and taking the proper police action. That's the partnership we need to turn this violence around. That's the partnership we're going to get to make our city safe.
Earlier this evening, at approximately 10:18 p.m., a 22-year-old male who's a New York City police officer was in his personal vehicle, stopped at a traffic light at Beach Channel Drive and Beach 62nd Street here in Queens when two males approached his car on foot and tapped on the driver's side window with a gun. The officer got out of the car. One of the two males then fired several shots at the off-duty officer, striking him in the shoulder. The officer returned fire but did not strike anyone, and the two males fled the scene on foot. Uniformed officers from the 100th Precinct heard the sound of gunfire and rushed to the scene. They began to render aid to the off-duty officer and broadcast a description of the fleeing suspects over their police radios for other officers to search for. Uniformed public safety team officers from the 100th Precinct observed two males who fit the description approximately 3 blocks away at Beach Channel Drive and Beach 59th Street and attempted to stop them. As those officers got out of the car, the suspects fired a shot towards the officers, which struck the rear bumper on the passenger side of their unmarked car. As the mayor stated, the officers exercised great restraint and did not return fire. And I want to emphasize that. These officers are being fired at and did not shoot back. Instead, they chased the suspects on foot and apprehended the two of them a short distance away without further incident, where a firearm was also recovered. Here's a photo of the recovered firearm and a bullet hole, a photo of the bullet hole in the officer's unmarked car. The initial responding officers then placed the injured off-duty officer in their car and transported him here to Jamaica Hospital, where thankfully he is in stable condition. I want to thank Dr. Ken Fretwell, who is the chair of the Department of Surgery, and everyone here at Jamaica Hospital for the excellent care they are providing to our officer.
You know, what we can't allow to happen is that it becomes routine to open up the newspaper or turn on the news in the morning and hear that another New York City police officer was shot, 6 in a number of weeks. And just to turn the page and act like it's normal and make it routine. We're talking about New York City police officers getting shot, men and women who have families at home, people that live in our neighborhoods, leaving their city neighborhood to serve another city neighborhood and almost getting robbed. You know, too many times you're reading the front page of the newspapers and there's still folks standing up trying to demonize New York City police officers. Well, we're all standing here saying it's time for action. Unions, elected officials, our commissioner and our mayor saying now's the time we stand together and do it. Those are elected officials that still don't get it, that still don't see the blood on the streets, that don't hear the gunshots that the folks in the neighborhoods are hearing. Well, it's time for them to step aside. Wait till tomorrow to get a headline, because the headline today has to be, this city, all of us, stands together to stop the violence and save lives. Not just New York City police officers, babies, mothers, fathers, cousins. You get it, our family.
Couple questions? Anybody? Joe, Rubino, you opposed?
Mr. Mayor, a few weeks ago when we were at Harlem Hospital, you said you needed two things. You needed unity and you needed help. 5 incidents in this month alone, 6 police officers shot, 2 were dead. An 11-month-old, a shooting yesterday at a mall in Brooklyn, broad daylight, 2 groups of teens in a gang, open gun cases pending tonight. Yet, the state legislature, particular Speaker Hesty, has said he does not want to revisit bail reform or raise the age. Certain members of the city council remain in opposition of bringing back a plainclothes unit that resembles anti-crime. What do you do if you can't find that unity in the city council and you can't get the help from Albany to augment these laws? Because to the average person, they look at the outcomes and they don't seem to make sense. On one side, you have people saying, stay the course, this works, trust us. But then you look outside and an average person sees with their eyes that police officers are getting shot. There are teens who have gun cases that are out with those cases pending disposition or sentencing, getting rearrested on gun cases. How does the average person make sense of this? And how do you get that unity to get the help?
Well, first of all, I can hear the frustration in your voice as well, because you are also a New Yorker, and I'm sure you and many people who are in the media are concerned about their family members, and they don't want to see the constant response to these incidents. And I believe Patty's made it clear. There's a clear unification of elected officials, of those who are in hospitals, those who are in the police department, of those who believe our city should not be this way. And we are unified. And the numerical minority is standing in the way of making smart decisions to not only rid ourselves of those who are shooters and bringing violence through gangs and other activities, but also the guns that are on our streets. NYPD is doing their job. 6,000 guns removed off the street last year. Close to 400 removed since I've been in office. The officers who responded to this incident after being fired upon continue to do their job. Out of all the frustration they're receiving of watching the revolving door of violent people, these officers every day put on their uniform, pin that shield on their chest, put that bulletproof vest on, and go back in the streets. With all of that frustration, they still go back and do their job. Now it's time for lawmakers to do their job. And we are unified and continuing to state it is time for us to get the help we need. We are going to do our job no matter what happens in Albany and in the federal government and anywhere else. We're going to do our job. But we can make our city safe if we get the help that we need and deserve.
Any other questions? On once? Thank you, everyone.